Today I am here with multi-instrumentalist Tom Moore, who lives outside of Phoenix in Chandler, just about an hour from me. And usually down in Chandler, it's a little bit warmer than it is here where I am up in Anthem. So what is your temperature today down there, Tom?
Last I looked, it was 100.
Yeah, it's 93 here. So you
Yeah, we
guys,
got up to 101 yesterday.
yeah. Yeah, so I guess we're in the season, the summer season now.
Absolutely.
It was nice that I could have the windows open while we were in quarantine here, but now everything's closed up and the air's on. So,
And we've had two up until the last couple of days, had the windows open almost all day.
yeah, yeah. So, how are you and Diana doing during these challenging times?
We are both healthy, no conditions of any kind that point to anything other than being good. And we're enjoying our time together because, she works some, and this way she's been home on retirement like with me. So a lot of outside projects and landscaping, gotten into a lot of cooking together and watching movies. So we've really enjoyed the time together.
Yeah. Yeah, I have found myself cooking much more, which I am enjoying.
So are we.
Yeah. Have you still been recording while all of this is going on? You have,
Yeah, part of each day I've gone, and she sleeps in a little bit. So most mornings I'm in here at 6 o'clock in the studio, and it's quiet time, and it's a good time for me to, contemplate what I'm doing. So I've been working on something at least every day. I've got projects that I'm working on, two different type of projects, and I've pretty much been alternating back and forth between the two.
mhm. So do you feel like this time has inspired you more to create music, or it's been a challenge? So I know for some of us it's been more challenging, just because we feel a little bit more depressed. We're not sure what's going to happen. Um,
That part hasn't changed for me at all. The only real difference is it made me more aware of, I think, people getting in touch with deeper inside themselves instead of being so distracted, and in good ways often with things outside, and it distracts people from spending the quiet time with themselves. So it's reminded me, one of the projects I'm doing is a deeper meditative music works, an album to go inside. And not only just to sit down actively, but something to relax them more.
mhm.
And so it's inspired me to do that, to remind that when something like this happens, then you can't rely so much outside. Spend a little time going inside, evaluation of your time with yourself, especially time with the families. I've talked to neighbors at a good social distance, and they talked about they've connected with their kids. I've got one across the street who's got kids 12 and 14, and he's a business light director, and he said, I've had more time with my kids in the last month than I have in the last year.
Yeah.
So those type of things in general has reminded me to get in touch with the inner parts about music and hopefully express that out and share it with people later on.
Yeah. Definitely for me, I've spent more me time since this
Right,
all has happened. Doing more meditation,
right,
doing more yoga. I've been getting up in the morning and going out to the backyard and doing yoga for anywhere from 10 minutes to 40 minutes.
right,
So I'm thinking more about me first,
right.
which is a little bit different.
Well, I know you stay so busy, and I know whatever me time you usually take, then you then come out and share it in some ways with other people. So whatever you do for yourself, it's going to come out sharing with other people, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking with Monica the other day, and we were talking about things we've thought of doing while we're in quarantine, but we haven't done it yet, and wondering if we're going to ask ourselves, or tell ourselves we should have done this when we had the time in quarantine. Uh,
Right.
so we had a lengthy discussion about that, but there she goes. Yeah, so every time I do these interviews, there's a delivery truck of some sort that pulls up and she barks.
I
Uh,
was waiting to see, I'm expecting something from Arizona Prime, and I'm going, don't come now while we're on here. The doorbell rings, and I
it
go, okay, hold
happens.
on.
It happens. It's funny, I was listening to an interview on Echoes today, and the woman he interviewed, her kid was coming into the room and all this stuff was going on in the background. But, he said, well, that's kind of our life now. Everybody's
Right.
got a broadcast from home. So,
Go with the flow with that.
yeah,
Well, I haven't changed much in what I do. I'm pretty disciplined about different projects I'm doing, time for myself.
you
The
are.
biggest things changed at home. We're doing some new landscaping in the yard. And since Diana's home running a hair salon, she's been shut down for a while.
Yeah.
And with the two of us home, she's really been pitching in. Yesterday, we got out in the morning heat even and doing some things. So that's been the biggest change with her and I working on projects outside together.
Mhm.
Otherwise, all the time, it's pretty for me.
Yeah. It's been nice spending more time with Chuck, even though, we both work out of the house, we're working all the time.
Right, right,
But now we're
right.
taking more breaks. We're sitting down for lunch together. We're going for walks. We're going out hiking.
Good time.
Yeah, but that probably won't last much longer because it's getting too hot for hiking.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
But it has been nice reconnecting, and I have reached out to people that I hadn't talked to in a while just to see how they're doing. So it's been
And
nice
I've done the same.
reconnecting.
I've called up a number of people because I know they'll be home. And so it's been easier to do that. And it's got me thinking of people. So that's a good reminder of things that I have been doing a little different too, which has been nice.
Yeah. So your latest album that we released on Heart Dance is an album with Mike Clay called Beyond Our Orbit, and it's been doing very, very well on radio stations. So there's been a lot of interest. And you had sent me the charts the other day from Soma FM, so that was really great to see that it's been so well received there. Do you want to
Yes.
tell people the story behind the project and maybe some of your background with Mike?
Sure, sure. Well, first of all, background with Mike. I met him back when him and I both were in graduate school at ASU years ago. And we were interested in similar music and things like the meditation areas and self-improvement. And from that, we got into music together. Got a little interesting, funny story. I was playing guitar, my main instrument, and he had bought a synthesizer early, and this was like 1978, and that's very early in synthesizers. And he went away for a weekend actually to Esalen, and he left me the synthesizer and said, check this out. Well, I started playing with it, and I don't think I came up for air, maybe to go eat for the whole weekend. And I go, oh, I've got to have one of these. And I was about ready to move out of my apartment, another one. And him and I decided, let's get a house together. So we wound up having this big house with this nice studio room. And within a couple of months, we had synthesizers everywhere. We started playing all the time. We were both into meditation, similar music. And we just started playing out, doing a lot of electronic music, what they call the Tangerine Dream Berlin School of Music type of synthesizers out of Germany at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we stayed in touch. Him and I have been friends for over 40 years and have some great interest in music. So when this came up, I had some ideas and we had put some things down. And my music comes from two places or expresses in two places, like the music you and I do, more inner space music than meditation. And I've also been interested in what I call outer space music, which is more the awesomeness of the universe, whether it's a hike through Monument Valley, the canyon, or outer space. So I wanted to do it like that. So I was thinking of beyond our orbit, thinking of in our own lives, we have our own little orbit. You have your own little orbit. You've got friends, you've got your musicians, you've got your artists, and it expands out. And I thought, well, it would be a good idea to expand out of the orbit, beyond our orbit, our daily lives, beyond our thought, beyond wherever we're at, how we can expand it. It's synonymous with all the levels. So I started coming up with pieces like the one that's leaving our orbit. The last is the last communication. Like once you've gotten so far to a certain, you that, moving almost at the end of 2001, where you see the star child. And that movie ends where you're not sure where it's going to go, what's there, other than something beyond the orbit.
Mm-hmm.
And I started coming to musical pieces, putting that together, and got with Mike, gave him some ideas, and said, "What do you think of these?" And it came together from there. And there's a whole story and concept behind it. As you know, when we work together, I always write it out, almost like a storyboard for a movie. But it covers that inner and outer space. And this album is a lot more an ambient in a sense, and the instrumentation on it, as you know. So it kind of put me back in touch with that Berlin school of music, Tangerine, Klaus Schulze, Manuel Gatching type of synthesizers in music, and bringing together all the things I wanted to express about exploring ourselves and meditating. So, it just all came together. And once started getting the music out there, I remember places like Soma FM, music you and I have done is probably not in their genre necessarily. Not that they don't like it, but it's not their genre. Well, when I got the music to them, for example, they just loved it. It's perfect in their genre and their space station.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, we're on 6 of their charts. And even as artists, I think 2 or number 3, one of their charts is favorite electronic artists. And Mike and I showed up as number 2, 3 for this week.
Yeah.
And I think for the past 6 weeks, we've appeared high up on every one of their charts.
Yeah.
So, and Frank Forrest over at Musical Starstreams loves the album. And he deals with, I've been looking at some of the music he's programming. And it's more of the electronic and space age music. And he's liked the album. He got me a couple of nights ago and said he's going to be programming tunes off of that album on his program.
That's excellent.
So some of those areas, places that our music wasn't necessarily their taste, been in touch with them. And then some of the ones that liked what we did, it's meditative and ambient enough that it didn't drop out of the lane either. So we've gotten great response to it. I've been really happy.
Yeah. And last year, you and I did 2 releases.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
and I was just listening to them actually back to back the other day, because the first one is the sound turns, the more meditative one. And then the space album that we did is kind of that honoring of that 50th anniversary of the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
We did it, but I still love the album, and I think it's such a tribute, something that's historical, but it still was in that feeling of what you and I were doing about being meditative and relaxing at the same time. So they came out within 3 months of each other, and it was just the right time. And enjoyed putting those together. Enjoyed playing with you on those, and been received. As you know, we've been nominated. Both of those albums nominated in other places.
Yeah, it's always nice to know that the music is well received by the listeners. And I just love hearing from people about how they use the music, how it's affected their lives. And I'm sure you must get emails from people as well.
I do.
Yeah.
And that's really why I do it. I mean, I can sit in the room and explore and do it myself, but I like for people to hear it and reach out. And what really warms me is when someone gives me, you and I talked about a story we've gotten from people on what it does to them and where they go and what's positive for them. And to me, that's what it's worth. And any awards or the monies from it, those are always great. But those are bonus. That's not the central thing that I think about. And I think you the same way, that it's about the music and touching people.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to reach people with my music somehow. I was doing the driveway concerts for a while, and
they were great. I love them.
Yeah, and I've been having a table set up, not today because it's so hot, but just a table for people to take CDs if they'd like them.
Right.
So I can try to bring some comfort to their lives and some peace right now in these very strange times. How do you feel, or what do you think? How do you feel that this is going to change the life of musicians, maybe, or just the world in general? What positives do you see coming from this situation we're in? What negatives do you see, or just what is your general feeling on all of it?
Well, I think there are positives and negatives, and I think there's more negatives immediately, especially with musicians. I've been talking to a musician friend of mine yesterday that's full time, and he's had no work for a long time, doesn't need it in the future. And he was telling me about a few of his friends the same way. They're just really struggling. And I think for them, the negative effect of all this now is so with them, there's so much presence for them about that. I don't think they've gotten to the positive part that it can bring. The people I know that seems to be positive are the ones that at least maybe have one person that they're working or other incomes, something where they can be home with their family, be home with themselves in their own time, and not having to worry about keeping the wolf away from the door, so to speak. And I hopefully not only them, but the musicians or performer type people that are out of work completely, hopefully in the long run, they'll look back or reflect about the times with themselves or with their families, and it becomes more positive in that sense. So I think there is positive and negative. It just depends on when it sets in.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some people probably that will carry on that will not be positive at all. I mean, that's unfortunately, that's the way some people go about it. But I think the majority, it is an opportunity maybe to reevaluate what's important in one's life.
Yeah, I agree with you. Been doing a lot of reflecting lately. Yeah. So have you tried any online concerts, Facebook Live or anything?
I haven't, and I've thought about it a few times because I have everything set up in the studio that I could do that. But I was telling you, we've been doing some landscape projects and getting out 4 or 5. One day I was in the yard for 6 hours, and after coming in, I just wanted to relax. I wasn't even thinking about doing anything.
Yeah.
At the point of finishing some of that up. So now I think I probably will be thinking about doing that because what we're doing with everything set up,
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. And I'd even thought about, I wasn't sure how we could do it. Maybe some of the things that you and I have done, if you could, add flute remotely while, like how we do recording things, that was possible as part of that sometime too. So I'd certainly be willing to do that if you're open to that.
Yeah, I think something like that could work with our style of music because it's more of a call and answer.
Yes.
There's a little bit of lag time, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's why I was thinking with us, it's not that precision of timing where the lag time would be any different, I think.
yeah. Yeah. So that probably could work. But you've got a great setup to do it with your studio and your beautiful room there. And you could,
Yeah, so I'm probably finishing up a lot of those projects by Wednesdays. After that, I think seriously I'm going to do some things. I was thinking about maybe something like where Darin was doing a couple, 2 or 3 songs once a week, something like that. Kind of create an ambience, and especially with the stress of all this, that would be my approach is, tune in for 10, 12 minutes of like a quick meditation, so
right,
relaxing, close your eyes if want to be just out with yourself like that. Tune into the whispers of silence within yourself. So
right, right. That would be perfect, I think. And I think it would be well received because we all need
yeah,
it. Yeah.
thanks. I'll keep,
I, yeah, I've been checking out some online meditation sessions and it's
yeah,
been good to explore different things.
yeah. So yeah, I'll keep you posted on that.
All right. So what's for dinner? I like to ask what's for dinner. Do you have it planned?
This is probably the one day recently I don't, but wow, that's a good question. I think I'll ask Diana as soon as we're done here and see. He said we've been cooking a lot of new things and putting things together, really, different spices on things. And we both get there and do it together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So yeah,
been
but
fun
that's a
having
good
you
point.
help me. Yeah. Chuck chops and I'm mixing and it's been
Yeah,
fun.
put some good tunes on in the background, and just kind of move
Glass of
around the
wine.
kitchen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
and then enjoy them, compliment each other on what we've done with that, then watch a good movie or a concert or something like that we really enjoying doing.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, thank you for joining me today and doing this. It's been nice to reach out to friends and musicians, and I haven't interviewed any family members yet. I don't think I could get them to do that, but I appreciate you doing this with me.
Oh, my pleasure. Glad to do that. Good to see you again too.
Yeah.
And
Glad to
looking
see you're
forward.
doing well.
Yes, like I said, we're both healthy and doing well. So, and wish you guys, looks like you guys are doing well also.
Yeah, we're doing okay. Hanging in there.
And we have, I don't know someone in person that the virus. You hear things remotely from different people. So in one sense, that's good because people out there with that. So I'd like to wish everybody well-being and health, and just bear with it, whatever the situation is, and hopefully all things will pass, and hopefully it's not too detrimental for many people. So any more than it already is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, I hope we're through this sooner. Sooner than
Absolutely.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun doing your landscaping projects.
Yes. Good time to do it. So
Yeah.
great. Nice
Send me
spending a little time.
pictures.
Be well.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Bye.